everyone is wrong about the new iPad mini. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. So, let's break this thing open. What's in the box? iPad mini in that faint purple colour, a cable and... wait, no charger? Oh, that's right, we're in the UK, so we don't get one. And I'm sure everyone will be outraged. Honestly, I've wanted one of these things since the last generation launched, with this redesign, the slab sides, and somehow a bigger display in what certainly feels like a smaller enclosure. Plus, it only weighs about 50 grams more than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is my new daily driver. And of course, many people will call me daft for having the huge iPhone and the tiny iPad combo, but you know what? 6.9 inch versus 8.3 inches doesn't really tell the actual story, because, and I can't say this passionately enough, aspect ratio is a thing. While the iPhone 16 Pro Max now has a taller display than the iPad mini is wide, the iPad mini also has almost twice the display area, at 20,335 versus 11,925 millimeters square. Yes, I did the maths. Now, in landscape mode, which Apple perhaps finds slightly less than ideal than with the other iPads based on the fact that this is the only one with the FaceTime camera still in the wrong place, it feels like 3 iPhones side by side, just to give you a bit of context. And yet, the iPad fits in my jacket's inside pocket with ease, which you absolutely cannot say for the rest of the range. And that means I'm more likely to use it when I'm out and about. And the display seems to be the most controversial part of this new iPad mini. Did Apple fix the jelly scroll issue that plagued the last version? If you don't know what that is, when you scroll up and down, the two sides move slightly differently, and they do on every iPad. It's just that it was the wrong way round for this one, and everyone was mad about it. Now, the reports are mixed. Some people say yes, it's gone. Others are saying no, it's definitely still here. Is there a chance that Apple is using more than one supplier for these displays? It seems unlikely with the volumes they're likely to be doing. Well, I can say finally, and without a shadow of a doubt, I couldn't see it on the last one either, so sorry. If it helps, I can't see 120Hz refresh rates either, so I guess I'm pretty useless as a reviewer for stuff, but it also means that the 60Hz display on here is fine by me too, and 500 nits of brightness for the display. Well, we're past the summer now, and it's been all fine for me so far for outside use, which I have done, like walking along a canal, but I'll let you know next summer if it's okay. Though I am in the UK, so that I'll try not to miss the day that we have summer for testing. The one thing that I can't quite get used to is the placement of the volume buttons being on the short edge along from the Touch ID sensor, which is the same as the last generation. To be clear, this is not a change, this is just different from what we've had on the previous design language. And it just feels odd, though I see why they needed to do it. They needed the space for the Apple Pencil to dock on it, and because the Apple Pencil is basically the same length as the device itself, the volume buttons had to go somewhere. Or did they? Could we not just move on now to using the control center? I feel like that's okay. The chip inside is last year's iPhone 15 Pro powering A17 Pro and a slightly binned version of it. So it's got 1 fewer graphics cores for a total of 5, but those 5 feel fantastic in the iPad mini. I mean, I played my first game of COD Mobile since installing it and immediately got MVP, so let's say this thing is just not lagging behind at all. Plus, the A17 Pro supports hardware ray tracing on the chip, which means we're going to get some great looking games on here, and I'm a big fan of games like the XCOM series, and I'll be testing out all of the Warhammer games for my second channel, iCaveDave, so if that's something you're into, hit subscribe both here and there. Dirty, filthy plug, I know, but if you don't ask, you don't get. Now, I've been a proponent for making iPad again for a long while, and I'm certainly not a fan of Apple's Magic Keyboard, at least from a financial perspective. And they're also hella heavy, but I do acknowledge that occasionally people do like to type. So I picked up this little folding guy from Amazon for about £20, and the tiny little trackpad even does all of the things that you would expect in terms of gestures. Although at the moment I do have to hold shift when hitting enter if I want to start a new line, which is a little bit confusing, but I've got a feeling there is some setting I need to switch because this thing has like Android and iOS and Mac and Windows modes, but I haven't bothered to look at the book yet. so I'm sure it'll fix it. I've also thrown on a JTech folding folio case and a matte screen protector simply because I like the feel of that on the displays, and I'm not really convinced how much difference the paper-like covers that are always all over YouTube would be. If you've used one, let me know down in the comments. So my hope is that the iPad mini will be enough for me when I'm out and about, so I don't need to take a big bag with my laptop in it anymore. My new everyday carry, if you will. And it turns out that Final Cut for iPad is supported, even though originally it didn't look like it was going to be, although there are a couple of features that aren't included, so I guess we should probably give that a try too. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see me try out with this thing down in the comments, and thanks to the Patreons, and I'll see you in the next one. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. Everyone is wrong about the new iPad mini. Why'd you do that?